Call meeting.
Recording in progress.
Latest try.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moment of silence, please, for our first responders and all those lost in conflict. Thanks very much. Please have a seat.
The board met in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss legal and personal matters. This year's pumpkin festival will be Saturday, October 11th at 10 a.m. followed by the food truck and music. On the same day at 2 p.m. both events will be in East Ocean Park. The toddler trick or treat will take place on Friday, October 24th at 10 a.m. at East Ocean Park. Is there any public comment before we get started on anything? If there's no public comment, we have the emergency service reports from. Nope.
Yeah, we do not have them. That'll be October 21st, Mr. Chairman.
So neither of them are here. So there's no public hearings tonight. There's no financial report. So there's the approval of minutes and the treasury report from August 5th, September 2nd, and September 16th.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we, as sorry for the feedback, move that we pass the budgets dated on August the 5th, September 2nd, and September the 16th.
Minutes,
Minutes.
I'll second that.
second the motion, okay,
Cody got it.
Cody's up there.
All right, and then the treasury report, August.
To vote on that.
Oh, yeah.
So there were just a couple of minor things, but nothing that I think needs really attending to, just a couple of little typos, but there's nothing that I saw. The content was all accurate. It's my recollection.
Cody, you got anything?
All good.
Real good.
Right.
So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the treasury report, August 28th, October 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. EIT collections, transfer tax revenue, real estate tax collections, state aid, volunteer fire association funds were received, quarterly recharges, interest income, insurance claims, rent, permits, alarm fees, and parks and recreation registration fees drove all of our general revenue fund revenue during this period. And general revenue fund expenses included the monthly WEGO contribution, our vehicle maintenance and repairs, highway materials and equipment rentals, parks and rec programs and events, insurance payments, pension contributions, disbursement of the volunteer fire state aid received, and routine operational expenses. Expenditures for our capital reserve fund included $21,000 for tipper payments. That's a rent to end. We'll pay the rest of that in 2026. The ARPA fund incurred $4,000 for catering of our ABC appreciation event. I missed it, but I was told it was very great, and everybody liked the food and had a good time. $11,000 of infrastructure sustainability fund expenses included pond treatments, water sampling, and the final seeding of Bow Tree 1, as well as open space tree removal. So Bow Tree is now done. That's all I have. Anybody have questions on expenses?
Dave, I do have a question. I can't seem to find where I made a notation. There was a membership for Kevin Raleigh, who is no longer with the township. There was a membership fee that we paid for him.
Was it a membership fee or was it for a renewal of Adobe license?
I don't know.
I think it was the Adobe licensing, and we can give that to anybody else that we want to.
I thought I saw membership of something. So I'll find it and I'll get back to you on that in a minute, but does anybody else have any questions? Go ahead and go.
I just have a quick comment in regards to the Bow Tree Pond. I already had a resident the other day tell me how great it's looking, and there's a ton of kids down there. And they also mentioned that how thankful they are for the dog waste bags, and that there used to be a ton of dog waste down there. Now there's not, because we provided that station. So just want to thank Public Works for all their good work as usual.
Awesome, thanks, Cody.
And it was the Adobe membership, so the spot subscription. So you said that can be transferred to anybody else?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not gonna be something easy.
No, and I double checked with that, a couple months ago when I knew it was coming up for renewal.
Oh, okay, good.
Double checked with Derek, but we wanted to keep that in-house or not, and, we made a determination that we'll anticipate a new inspector.
Okay.
Roll with it.
Okay,
We have a motion.
no,
Is
not
there,
yet.
is there any fish in the boat tree pond? Are they gonna stock it?
Did we?
I was
We
told that
did-
they haven't, the resident said they don't think that they've stocked it yet, but I could be wrong on that.
We typically do.
Okay.
I know that we did at Reservoir, so we probably will. I don't
Okay.
know if they would do it right now, just temperature wise, but.
Mhm.
It's been weird with the amount of fish available too. I know the latest place that Mark usually uses, they were out of a bunch of the ones that we typically get.
I feel like we usually do in the spring, so.
Yeah, I know we do.
But it'll be stocked though.
It
Oh,
will.
yeah, it
Okay,
will
cool.
eventually.
Just wondering. Alright,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the receipts and approve the expenditures as presented in the expenditure register and as summarized in the treasurer's report.
I second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. Alright, there's no old business and new businesses. Discussion and consideration of renewing tax collection services with Chester County for 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is actually, I'll hand this over to Dave in a second. I have this as new business, but we actually discussed this, I believe, in July quickly. This is on again for your consideration. The county right now collects our real estate taxes. We are seeking, the staff is seeking a 1-year extension on that. The county is not raising its rates for their services. And it gives us a little bit more time to hit the ground running in January. Dave and I spoke about to explore taking it back in-house, as we've discussed a few times here on the board level, and kind of do that analysis and get some numbers from the county itself as far as what their rates will be on 2027, 2028. So that can be a part of the analysis. So we are asking for that 1-year renewal at the same price that we pay now. And then Dave, I will let you add anything you need to add.
Sure, so, we currently do not have the in-house software that we would need to do, the real estate tax collection. And we don't have the personnel trained, so we would need a little time to get that together, and I would do a cost analysis to make sure that taking it in-house makes sense from a cost perspective. But we would actually be making out pretty well, because considering postage just went up and it's planned to go up another 2 times, within the year. We'll actually be getting one up on the county, price wise, for them meeting the postage increase and not increasing our costs. And next year, they plan on giving us a 2-year contract update, with the price built in. So once we get that, then I can really evaluate what the cost variance should be, whether taking it in-house versus what they would charge us.
And they did request an answer by October 1st, but I was in touch with the county and explained our meeting was October 7th. So,
Derek, do we need a motion on this?
You
or
do.
Is it a voice vote?
well, yeah, you would need a motion through voice vote to authorize me to sign the extension.
We basically are just gonna email them tonight, let them know that.
Okay, I so moved then.
I would second that.
All in favor of that?
I,
Aye.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick
Yes,
recommendation on our agenda, the way it flows. So Jason is actually on the Zoom right now.
Mhm.
Parks and Recreation item, which is listed as item E on the agenda, is the last sort of non-budget item we have. So I would recommend we tackle that now and let Jason kind of get out of here, and then we can tackle all the budget presentations.
yeah,
Just a recommendation.
I'm fine with it, because I think Jason's,
Yeah.
they need too much time to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You wanna do that now, Jason?
Yes. Sir. Oh. Second.
Hold on.
So I will just introduce the topic real quick, and then Jason could add in whatever. You want it?
That's fine. There you go, cool.
yeah, let's go.
So again, Jason, as everybody knows, he does a great job of looking at programming throughout the township, but also unique programming. I mean, we were just on the front page of the Daily Local for the Parkinson's ping pong, and I think that was a great initiative by him, and he just loves thinking outside the box with these Parks and Rec programming. So he wants to initiate something called Red, White, and Blue Sports, which is sort of allowing different political persuasions in the township to come together, have some fun together in township space and on different sort of fields, bocce, basketball, pickleball. So East Goshen Parks and Rec is looking to facilitate this. And really it's just, the times that we're going through, the sort of back and forth and what we see on a daily basis around the world. Jason came to me with this and thought it was a great idea to bring people together. So I think he would like board input and just seeing how you're feeling about it and a motion to implement the program. But Jason, I will also let you say a few words if you want to do that right now.
It doesn't cost.
Does not.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you did a really great job, Derek, of describing kind of the goals. So, parks and public spaces have always been the place in a community where people on either side of the aisle can get together and have shared experiences. We all go to football games. We all have kids that have played on playgrounds together. And so those spaces have always been the places where no matter what your political viewpoints are, you can always find common ground. And like you said, Derek, we're definitely in a somewhat polarized kind of standing right now. And I think it's a unique opportunity. We're at the East Goshen local community level where I think I'm sure there definitely is polarization within neighborhoods. But I think I had a conversation earlier today with the gentleman who said East Goshen Park is kind of like the crown jewel. And I've heard that many times. And that is the space that we have where I think we can bring people together who may have voted for one or the other in a shared experience, bocce, basketball, pickleball, of course, all those fun ideas. And just to provide that platform where they're not quite so ideologically in their own silo, where they can recognize somebody across the aisle as a friend, as a neighbor, and kind of just, kind of go back to the days where we could work together and compromise and figure it all out and come to a consensus. So that's really the genesis of it. We won't be asking for political affiliations, voting. We won't be talking about social issues, politics during the sports. The focus is really just to acknowledge that everybody is there who cares about politics, who cares about voting, but they're willing to come to the table. That's kind of really what it's all about. So I open it up to any questions you might have.
Jason, it's Michelle. I don't have any questions. I just want to say I think it's a great initiative. I think that there's a lot of that happening now anyway. I think there are a lot of people, particularly with the pickleball court. I think there are a lot of people who are coming together in that regard. I know a number of different people who are pickleball players. They play with one another. They're different political affiliation, and they do have that commonality. So I think it's a great idea to bring people together regardless of their political affiliation. So I appreciate the effort in that regard. So I'm fully supportive of that.
Jason, I love the idea. I think that's another beautiful thing about local politics, and especially in East Goshen. It doesn't really matter what your party is. We agree on quite a bit of things, and you can tell that by our voting history. Like most motions carry with 4 or 5 votes. So I think it's a great initiative. Look forward to participating.
I agree, Cody. I support this wholeheartedly.
I think to that end, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna recommend that the Park and Recs Department implement the Red, White, and Blue Sports Program fall of 2025.
Motion for that, or?
We need a
Uh,
motion.
He asked for a motion, so.
Okay.
So you need a second.
Shouldn't we know more about particulars before we?
Well, we can at least put the motion on the table. And then we can get more particulars if you want.
What other details are you looking for? He's just gonna do come out and play basketball together, and whoever shows up is gonna play.
Yeah. So the way it would work is there will be set dates and times, and participants would register in advance. So that way we know how many instructors we need. We can have teams set up in advance. It would be essentially 45 minutes to an hour on a weeknight or during the day for folks that are retired. And we could do, 4 to 5 different activities from now through December, probably once every couple of weeks. And in the packet, there's a flyer that we would put up in the park, we'd put up at the township building. And then I think the third page in the memo was the verbiage that would be in the registration. We definitely we want people to be participating that care about politics and vote and do all that good stuff. But we want to be sensitive to the fact that that's the intention of the program is not to talk about politics. It's about to really focus on the community through this one activity. So that will be communicated in the registration, and on site when I say hi to everybody for the first time, and then we kick off into whatever activity we're playing.
Thank you, Jason.
So I made a motion as, to pass that, so.
I'll second that if someone hasn't already.
Well, do we have a public comment or questions on that first from anyone here in the room? There's no one Zoom tonight, so. If there is none, then give it a second.
Cody was the second.
Okay, a second, then all in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Yeah, you
Jason.
too. All right, next, presentation and discussion by Goshen Park, Grant and Tanner. Grant Everhart and Tanner. Come on up.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Good evening.
It's good to see you. Doing well, thanks.
Okay, so, I'm Grant Everhart, Executive Director of the Goshen Fire Company. And this is Ted Harrison, he's President of the fire company.
Hang on one second, Fran. Cody, can you hear Grant or not?
I
Is it
can.
on?
Hi, Grant. Hi, Ted.
Yeah, it should be on. You might.
I can hear.
Hold on, let me try now.
Stick 1, 2.
How about now?
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah. I wield a lot of power around here.
So Ted and I are here this evening to present the Goshen Fire Company fiscal year 2026 contribution request.
Sorry.
So just a little overview, the Goshen Fire Company is proudly celebrating their 75th year of service to the community. We were founded in 1950 and we've been proud to provide fire, EMS, and fire police services to 4 townships for a pretty long time. We are a volunteer-run organization. We have about 25 responding volunteer firefighters, 5 volunteer EMS staff, and 15 active fire police officers. We currently have 12 full-time firefighter EMTs and 14 active part-time employees. In 2024, we ran 692 fire calls and 5,001 EMS calls. We're currently on track to exceed those numbers this year, 2025. We provide fire, EMS, and fire police services to approximately 35,000 residents in 4 townships. We cover most of East Goshen Township, about 40% of West Goshen Township, 60% of West Town, and about 16% of Willistown. Fire companies prepared an income and expense forecast for fiscal year 2026. Just a comment, the base budget that we developed actually is virtually flat to 2025, but we are including 2 important staffing initiatives that we need to continue to provide excellent service. So the first one is in order to provide better coverage and to reduce overtime costs. We are adding 4 full-time firefighter EMTs to cover shifts that in the past we've tried to fill by the use of the part-time employees. We currently have our active part-time employees we're trying to use them to fill essentially 10.3 full-time equivalent positions. And we've discussed this in the past, and I think most agencies are seeing this. The availability of part-time employees has significantly dropped off over the last 3 to 5 years. Primarily because most fire companies in the county now have some form of career staffing. So the people we relied on as part-time employees are now working full-time somewhere else. They've been able to land a full-time job, so their hours that they could give to us are now limited. So what happens when we have an open shift, if we can't fill it with part-timers, then we have to fill it with a full-timer at overtime, or it doesn't get filled at all, and it impacts our staffing. The second initiative is to hire a full-time EMS leader. This is a new position in our organization, and it replaces a volunteer EMS chief who has served for many, many years. But he is stepping down at the end of 2025. As EMS is more and more handled by career staff and paid employees, our volunteer bench strength for these kinds of positions just dwindles, and we don't have the experienced volunteer personnel to step into these EMS leadership roles. So we will be hiring this position to lead our organization. Our EMS organization, we will continue to have an extremely flat organization. Almost all of our employees are frontline employees running calls. So this is really, aside from my position as executive director, this is only the second sort of administrative position we've hired to help run our organization. And it's pretty typical to have this position in place for an EMS agency that runs 5,000 calls a year. So other notable budget items, as usual, our EMS billing and EMS subscriptions represent about 40% of our income. It's closing in on $2 million a year. Fundraising and donations represent 9% of our income. Those are the Goshen Country Fair, 15-week club raffle, the flower sales in spring. And then requested township contributions represent 39% of our income. As I mentioned, this budget includes the new positions. A fairly notable item is we are reducing our apparatus replacement reserve funding from $276,000 per year to $132,000 per year. So that's a significant reduction. And on the next page, we talk about how we got there. So we are continually reviewing our fleet strategy. We talked about this in the past. We retired Rescue 54. We moved the rescue equipment to 2 of our pumpers without any degradation in our ability to provide rescue services. This has really worked out to be a win-win for us, particularly since the replacement for the rescue, we were looking at $1.4 million going down. And then we've also decided to remove ladder 56 at the Boot Road Station from our replacement schedule. We still own the vehicle, but we're no longer dedicating funds to its replacement. Again, we've looked at our fleet. We have Tower 54 at Park Avenue. We have a second area at the road. We looked at our surrounding the agencies around us who have ladder trucks. We felt that, again, looking at a $1.8 to $2 million replacement down the road, could we justify it? That expense? We felt we could continue to provide the same level of service, but just eliminate that specialized piece of apparatus from our fleet.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Here. Sometimes the bottle of water causes the feedback. So you've taken ladder 56 out of the rotation for replacement.
Yes.
You're going to still maintain that truck, correct?
For
right now. And just because you're not going to replace it doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to reach our highest buildings, is that correct?
That's correct, that. So that truck has a 75-foot ladder.
Can you turn him up again, Derek? Sorry, I
Good,
just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
good.
So that's a great question. Ladder 56 has a 75-foot ladder. Tower 54 has a 100-foot ladder. So we maintain adequate reach with our aerial devices.
Next page.
Oh, yeah, the ambulance-free chassis. So, as everybody knows, ambulances essentially doubled in cost over the last 10 years. So rather than our next round of ambulance replacements, rather than buying new ambulances, we're gonna take existing ambulances and put a new truck chassis under them. So they lift the box off of the patient compartment off of the chassis, put a new truck underneath of it, and then they refurbish the patient compartment, so it's essentially brand new. We save about $150,000 per.
And I just want to make sure to clarify, that doesn't mean that that's going to be a reduction in services either. It's just simply a function of removing basically it's a patient room, moving it onto to the new chassis. And that is a practice that other departments also
Yes.
have done in the past to do a cost saving measure. So it's not going to affect service. I just want to make sure that that's made clear.
So combination of all of these things, in addition to sort of being mindful of not having a fleet of a bunch of auxiliary vehicles, excess pickup trucks and cars and things like that, we really don't go in that direction. We run a pretty lean fleet, and that all of those things combined is how we arrived at the reduced gas fund. So we start to get into the spreadsheets. The one you're looking at here is our operating income. And this is all sources of operating income, EMS billing, fire billing, fundraising, donations, all these things, grants, all combined. You'll see some numbers go up, some numbers go down. It's just, we try to trend these things as best we can, so we're accurate. But we're expecting a 2% increase in income in the coming year. That the biggest area that could fluctuate is in the grants column. Those are competitive. You can't always count on them. That's our best guess as to where the money could come from, but we could get lucky and get more. But we just want to be reasonable there. So on the next page, we show all of our expenses. Obviously, staffing is the most significant expense. Followed by fleet operations, and fleet operations is maintenance, repairs and maintenance, fuel, insurance, all the bundle into fleet operations. But we feel like these are pretty solid estimates on what our expenses would be. We're still waiting for a few things to come in, like the healthcare costs for next year.
Yeah.
We're actually surprised our property liability and vehicle insurance actually came in less. We thought we were gonna see like a 10% increase, because that's sort of been the trend, and it actually came in around 5%. So yeah, we're pretty happy with that. So any questions about the expenses? Okay, so on the next page, we show our net revenue, which is essentially our deficit. After income and expenses, our 2026 deficit is projected at $1,478,528. And as we have done in the past, we use a formula for the 4 townships to allocate the cost of our municipal request. That would be the yellow column there. East Goshen, so, and the formula is based on call volume and property assessment. And, East Goshen's sort of slice of this is 47.9% of our activity and our protected property assessment. The other townships are on here as well. And then on the far right, the two columns for EMS and fire, that shows basically how we divide that expense up between the two functions, between EMS and fire.
Grant, I'm gonna ask a quick question regarding the projections for 26, 27, 28, because what we're looking at is a 39% increase over last year. And in 2022, it was almost, I think, 50% increase, Dave, if I'm not mistaken. 22 over 21 was
No, that
was it 22 over to,
no, it's from 2022 to now is basically.
oh, 2022 to now is
To this ask,
about
yeah.
50% increase.
No, this is 100%.
100%, excuse me. So that's not gonna be sustainable. So it's not sustainable for you, it's not sustainable for us, it's not sustainable for taxpayers. So do you have a projection for 26, 27, and 28 are gonna be looking like? Because we have to start looking at, I mean, we still have to really start looking at this very seriously and very, very closely.
I understand. And I'll tell you, same thing I told West Town Township, and, you know, we were just in a meeting with West Goshen Township. Part of this money is fundraising, donations, that we've worked very hard to get. And we are as careful with that money as we are with the township's money, so we take this very seriously. Ted and I have had conversations, we talked to our finance team. We aren't seeing any big initiatives over the next 5 years that would trigger this kind of increase. We really feel like our increases for the next 5 years now, we need to do some strategic planning to look beyond that. But we really feel like we're in the single digits for the foreseeable future, basically based on annual increases for staff, things like that, or just inflation on some things. We're comfortable with the number for the fire apparatus replacement. We think that's solid and that's doable. But we don't see anything like this kind of increase in the next 5 to 10 years, unless something catastrophic, the bottom falls out of volunteer firefighting or something like that. We just don't see that happen.
So you've already talked about bringing on 4 full-time people. And that's part of this, I imagine.
It's big.
So if the bottom falls out and the volunteers go away, how many more people do we need full-time?
We would have to take a close look at our model of 2 stations, how we cover, I mean, we have 2 stations because our geographically dispersed district. To staff 1 station is 16 firefighters and maybe and you start looking at like leadership, chief positions or assistant chiefs, things like that. It's a whole nother model that we need everyone to talk about. Yeah, when those things happen, it's going to take sort of a regional solution.
Michelle, just for perspective, since I started in 2021, the township's total expenses outside of fire, EMS, public safety has gone up 0.5% each year.
Outside of
Public safety,
public safety, including the police?
yes.
You're including the police in that?
Yep.
So 0.5% each year?
Yep.
Okay.
So the $700,000, is that for 2026, 27, 28, 29, going forward? The ask,
That's for next year.
and then what about 27, 28, 29? It's gonna be 700,000 every year after that?
There'll be inflationary adjustments to it.
And then. What does it look like if you can't get enough volunteers? Cause I have a lot of friends that volunteer firefight too, in other townships, New Jersey, all over, and then they're just not there. And they're not volunteering anymore either, so. What's that due to all this?
It blows it all up. You
Yeah.
start looking at a model like East Portland Township that basically has no volunteers left. And so
What's that look like? As far as,
I have to look at their website to see what their budget is. I'm guessing it's in the $4 or $5 million range.
They're just all paid.
they're all paid.
Yeah,
They're all
like
paid.
Philly.
Tradition East Town's kind of moving towards that model.
Mhm.
They were at 5 or 6 million. So we need to do what we're doing as long as we possibly can.
So we're looking, like, if there was a 3% increase, it would be, for 26 would be 730 if they got the whole 709. And then, so we're talking about like 20, we're talking about anywhere from like 20 to 25,000 a year additional year over year, if it's only 3%
Yeah,
for the
but
next several years, but,
it's
that's not
never
how it's
been less than
printed.
7 to 10%.
right.
Yeah, because our income doesn't grow as fast as the expenses. You
No.
know, obviously.
And donations are down too.
Last 5 years. Yeah, and the cap on EMS reimbursements, Charles will talk about things, that's strangling. It's strangling. You know, if we were running a business, we'd be in a business.
So to that point, if Goshen Fire didn't do EMS, you would only need $867,955.
No,
That's the fire side of the net revenue.
yeah, but it's more complicated than that because we share, the staffing model is shared between fire and EMS people. So we try to attribute it as best we can, but. If you take away, I mean, EMS subsidizes a lot of what we did. Even though it's, you know, it's.
But it's broken down EMS and fire for revenue and expense.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
This model's assuming our staff is there, able to jump. Yeah.
Hey, thanks,
The
Jeff.
model's assuming also our staff is there. To either jump on an ambulance or a fire truck. If we get out of the EMS business, fire company's been relying on career staff since the 80s. If we get out of the EMS business, we still need the career staff to staff fire trucks. We couldn't, you know, in theory, get rid of all of our staff and go wholly volunteer. It won't work.
So. And what you're looking at is basically the hours a day they spend on one versus the other. That's how we attribute that. The salaries or the staffing costs. But if you take away EMS. Then more of that staffing cost gets attributed to fire. Because we need that staffing in place.
So you're saying EMS subsidizes fire staff,
It does.
otherwise the units have just fire people sitting around waiting for a fire call
Yes.
without the EMS.
Like a Phoenixville model where it's fire only.
And what's that look, what's that like?
I don't know what, I haven't seen their budget, but
Have you guys run that model to see what that would be? Just so we would know, like East Kitchen would know what the sunk cost of fire alone is.
I have that on a spreadsheet somewhere. I've done it before.
No, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I can let you.
And if it all went to be paid, how would that work? It was just pay fire, just EMS, pay EMS, that'd be two separate systems then at that point.
There'd be some crossover. You need some fire only staffing. Make sure the fire trucks get out 24/7.
Mhm.
And then you'd need like pure EMS staffing to staff the ambulances. It's a different model. And we've run that, it's not part of this. presentation.
Do you all take into consideration the added value that East Goshen provides the fire department with? The fact that we do, Dave's department does the administering of the payroll and the workers' comp. And the pension, as well as the having y'all use the fuel.
Yeah, so all of that is
All of that.
reimbursed. We pay
Yeah,
for all
oh, I
that.
know, but
Um,
you still get a value from that,
Yeah.
and we get a value from it as well. because when we can help you, it helps our residents all around. And do you also consider the truck when it goes out with the public works department? Do you consider that into your call schedule? Do you know how many calls they've made where you didn't have to send somebody?
We have all that, but it's, there are days when they're not in service because they're paving or they're out in another township or in training or something, so it's fairly dependable, but it's not 100, it's not.
Sure.
It's not 100% that you could say should stop everything else and just let them handle Monday through Thursday.
No, of course, we all understand that, but is that included in your numbers? You have it somewhere, you have an idea of how many calls they go on?
We track everything.
Okay. I'd be curious to see how many calls they actually had gone on where you didn't have to send somebody out because they were able to do it. I understand that you still have to send the ambulance crew out, that's a requirement, I understand that, but it would be interesting to know how many calls they were actually able to save the department, whether it was volunteer or career,
Yeah,
having to get on a truck.
we could pull those numbers. We don't, I mean, it's not something we consistently look at. But,
No, I understand, it's not, maybe it's not something you consistently look at, it's just, I think it's something that I know that I would be interested in seeing. And I wouldn't be interested in seeing it every month, I would just be interested to see like maybe what it's been this year or last year, that's all.
We
Thanks.
can do it.
Cody, do you have any questions for Grant or Ted?
I'm good on questions. Thank you. Some of you already asked some of the ones I was looking at.
Okay, and this last page just shows that fair share model that we use for all the townships. And it's updated every year on the prior full year of costs. And we pull the assessment information out of the county's GIS.
Just so everybody's aware, we did get a request from Malvern Fire Company as well, received today for $150,000, and Goshen Fire covers 98% of us. And we've given them 18,400 last year.
That's a
Um,
1,000% increase.
I don't think they've asked for a contribution increase since I've been here, and now they're asking for that, so.
Well, that's a little bit,
How much work do they do for us?
Grant, probably better to
You guys help
answer
me
that
with
one.
They provide ALS services for everything east of Ridley Creek. I don't know what the call volume is in that.
I would venture to say the majority of it is Malvern Institute.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Derek, or
Which-
can you find out that information for us, Derek, so we know
What specific
what their
information?
call volume is in East Goshen specifically?
What
Yeah,
is
I
the
mean,
Malvern
that's-
Institute?
That's definitely in the
In the report.
in the monthly report.
Did you find out their total budget too? That's not in our report.
Yep, sure.
And what exactly is the Malvern Institute?
Malvern Institute is in the northeast part of the township, and it borders East Whiteland. It is a rehabilitation center. It's adjacent to that neighborhood up there. And I mean, prior to even becoming East Goshen, it was a delicate relationship between the neighborhood and the Institute, because the Institute was there for many, many years. It was grandfathered in before current zoning law was in place. So, obviously with the, people staying there and, seeking help for whatever, alcohol, drugs, there's some higher volume than there would be other places. You had a lot of things in past of people just because they can't keep them there against their will. So some people will leave and wander off into the neighborhoods and they get called that way, police, but also ambulance calls a lot to those facilities, and I won't, go into detail, but you can imagine why.
Sure. So who covers all the expenses involved with you guys responding to that, or Malvern responding to that?
So Malvern has first due response to Malvern Institute, so it's.
How is that, you guys done, is that by agreement between you or?
The township.
That's-
The township set up the district for years, it's been that way since I've been a member of the fire.
So every reorgan, just for everybody's information, even for the general public, every reorganization meeting in January, we set the boundaries for first responders and where the boundaries are. Basically the police, ALS, BLS, and fire. So we do that every year. It has not changed since I've been in East Goshen, so I don't know when the last time those geographical lines were looked at, but a lot of it is played into, as the companies know, geography and response time and things of that nature as well.
Yeah, it may be important there to just note for people, who aren't real familiar with this, the township of East Goshen does not own a fire department. They're totally independent. The same goes for the ambulance service. When they need money, we make a donation. It's called a donation. It's something we certainly have to pay. It's a contribution that allows them to provide fire protection and ambulance service to the township. But again, they are not part of the government. They are independent. Okay.
How much of, does health insurance reimburse for all the ambulance calls and stuff? And the,
Like six, should be close to 600.
But,
It's 4 to 600 calls. isn't it?
so a portion, 30% of our calls, we don't transport anybody, so it's 340 dollars a call or something. But, you know,
If you're transporting
If you
everybody,
transport,
then you'd be able to charge for all of them.
The
And we would
majority
be in
of-
such a situation now.
the majority of our transports are Medicare. So it's rate cap, rate control, so.
how much difference is that between, with the rate control understands Medicare? It's-
A lot.
It falls pretty short of what it takes you to put an ambulance there and back and stuff.
If we got paid what it cost us to run an ambulance call, we wouldn't be here.
No, I just don't know that. No,
I guess-
I know a lot about this.
Yeah, I can send you the exact numbers of like, where we.
Well, it'd be good for people to know, this, taxpayer.
Yeah.
You know how it all works out.
Grant, the 4 full-time employees that you guys are looking to hire with this, those are gonna be union, fire,
Yes.
EMTs.
Got the out of the contract.
And then with that, you probably try and lower your overtime, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Lower the overtime and improve coverage,
With lowering the overtime almost paid per person, I guess.
not quite.
Okay.
Like, it's the healthcare cost kills it. It's not that we pay an extraordinary hourly rate.
Mhm.
It's,
You need to have benefits.
yes.
There are
Okay.
there are a lot of complications that come with being a firefighter. So you need to have that better benefit.
I don't have any more questions. Does any public comment or any from the public have any questions for them tonight?
Thank you, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ted.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
All right. Whew. Next, we have the presentation from Good Fellowship.
Hey, Chaz, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good to see you.
See you. Chaz Berg, I'm the executive director from the Fellowship Ambulance. Don Veriani is our board president joining me this evening. Former East Goshen resident, I heard, now a Thornburg resident, so we don't build him if you want. I grew up with Don. One of it.
Oh, jeez.
Derek, I'll show the presentation here. I'll be brief on it, provide a couple updates and then get into our budget contract. The next slide there. I always like to start with this recognition. So we took over the Advanced Life Support Service, and I'll explain what that is in a second, from Chester County Hospital in 2018.
Excuse me a second.
yeah.
Cody, can you hear Chaz?
I can, thank you.
So every year since then, we've received the highest level recognition from American Heart Association. This speaks to their care of stroke and heart attack victims. We get this by submitting all of our data to the American Heart Association, and we meet and exceed their benchmarks there. So pretty proud of this. Is an unmatched record in southeastern Pennsylvania, 8 years straight now that we've got this highest recognition. So next. Just some highlights recapping this year, some of the successes, really on our BLS side, we are transporting patients, some behavioral health patients directly to the new Haven Behavioral Hospital. That's a pilot program we're running right now. We're the first in the Commonwealth to do so. Many of these patients do not need to go to a hospital emergency department. They need to go directly to behavioral health. We are looking to roll that out to other agencies across the county soon. If Goshen or any other agency want to participate, they could. But that's a really successful pilot so far. I think our big news of the year was we did expand into all of West Whiteland Township. We previously only covered about 15% of that. West Whiteland elected to go with a single provider, and we started there June 1st. I point that out because West Whiteland was part of the shared funding formula we had previously. They have been separated out on their own budget now. And they are fully self-sustaining with the municipal contribution from West Whiteland. They're not part of the other 9 townships now. So there's no impact on any other municipality's budget from West Whiteland. We placed our new rehab vehicle in service. That's a federally funded service, or vehicle equipment. And we provide medical assistance in large incidents across the county. So if there's a large apartment building fire in Coatesville City, our rehab team goes out there, medically monitors other first responders, fully funded by donations and federal dollars. And then we just added this EMS ATV. It's an ATV capable of actually handling an EMS stretcher, available for our entire region. That was a state grant from Senator Comita and Senator Kane partnered up together. So that's available for the entire region as well. It sits in West Goshen Township, but it's available to anyone who needs it. So this is our total service area now, including West Whiteland. So we're expecting over 9,000 dispatches next year. That's 22% of all the dispatches in Chester County, 70 square miles, 75 square miles of coverage, and about a fifth of the county's population there. I mentioned that from a paramedic standpoint. So again, that's the ALS service there. So we're covering that entire area now with 4 paramedics, primarily, which makes a really efficient service for all 10 of these municipalities. Covering large regional areas. Next. So specific to East Goshen, and just a reminder here, we provide services west of Wrigley Creek. Again, we provide the advanced life support. So Goshen Fire Company provides the basic life support. The advanced life support are essentially the life-threatening or potentially life-threatening calls that require a higher level of care, medications, advanced procedures, cardiac monitoring, EKGs. We come out, take care of the patient with Goshen Fire Company, providing those services. So 2/3 of East Goshen are covered by Good Fellowship. The other third is by Malvern. And that's about 700 dispatches annually. And we're seeing that increase year over year. So this is our total budget. And this does include West Whiteland. Again, we have these broken out separately as well to show that the West Whiteland impact is not on the other 9 townships, but our total expenses now are 6.2 million. Our billing revenues 3.8 million. This leaves this loss that we have to try to make up. So the chart you see is how I'm hoping to make this up next year, primarily with municipal funding, local government support, certainly with grants, subscriptions, donations. We also have a large training center. We teach the majority of the new EMTs, paramedics in the tri-state area now. That there's actually revenue from that training center that offsets some of our losses. And some other income as well. So kind of the similar thing that I'm sure you all know here. So salaries and benefits are our #1 cost driver every single year. EMS was not left out of the healthcare mass exodus during the pandemic and immediately after it. That really drove up wages in the EMS field. So trying to retain the really talented professional EMS providers we've had to keep their salaries increasing every year since adjusting our pay scales. We're never going to be the highest paid EMS agency, but we do want to keep their pay rates within a market average to retain that. Vehicles and equipment, our vehicles, I know Goshen spoke a lot about it. I won't talk a lot about that. The vehicles are a nightmare. They're costing a ton of money. The equipment, the cardiac monitors, they're costing a ton of money now. Really year over year, we're seeing huge increases there. It was supply chain issues. That was the term we heard for the last 3 or 4 years. Now it's tariffs, and that's why the prices are going up. Is tariff impacts, unfortunately. So We are seeing significant increases in our auto and casualty insurance as well. I'll talk a little bit about that, a couple slides here, what we're doing about that. But really a lot of the insurers are getting out of the fire EMS space, which is driving up claims. So our service agreement, East Goshen is not currently in a contractual agreement with Good Fellowship. Today, 6 of our 10 municipalities are. We are looking to bring all 10 into a contractual agreement for 2026 going forward. For a lot of reasons. One, mostly this deficit is so huge that we can't have that variable municipal income at this point. We've trimmed everywhere we can, which you'll see in a slide or two here. And unfortunately, we're looking to just ensure we're providing the level of service we have today. So your funding formula kind of shares with West Goshen and West Town there. 50% is based on your dispatch call volume. The other 50% is based off the population that Good Fellowship covers. So that's where that number comes up. So the total request for the ALS service for these 3 townships is 191, and then that gets split out by call volume and population. So this is the 9 townships, again, does not include West Whiteland any longer. Kind of show the fair share spread here. So because you only get ALS service from Good Fellowship, we separate you out with just West Goshen and West Town. But this is kind of the fair share amount for all 9 townships. All right, so the elephant in the room is the skyrocketing deficit, right? We recognize this is a huge expense this year. We're describing this as a one-time correction. So the percentage is high, however, the dollar amounts were too low. So, you know, a 10% increase on 40,000, which I believe we were last year, was not enough money to keep up with a skyrocketing deficit. We need to make a one-time correction, get all of our townships up to a point where I can come year over year and try to keep that under 10% increases. It's not sustainable right now. Being at 10% just is not going to be sustainable at this point. We have to make this correction in 2026 to be able to go forward at this point to fund our operation. So a lot of the stuff I've covered there. I do want to mention we had a donor, a foundation that was actually purchasing entire ambulances for us. That was lowering all the township's costs. That donor concluded their efforts late last year, unfortunately. So, you know, we really count on that donor for a long time, and unfortunately, they've concluded now. So what we've done, we've outsourced our EMS billing. We use a national billing company now based in North Carolina, who actually spent the day with. They flew in last night and learned all about Westchester today. We've outsourced our CFO and controller responsibilities. We did that late last year. That was with previous full-time employees. Our 2025 budget had about a $500,000 gap in it that was unfunded, really capital stuff. We funded that with 2% state loans. You're only allowed to have 3 of those at a time. We have all 3 of those out currently. I talked about insurance. We are moving to a new broker, really to make sure we have somebody advocating for us on the market. We've been with the same insurance company for 20 years, and it may be time for a change. So we've just signed with a new broker just in the last week or 2 for that. We've trimmed our staffing where we can, so it does not impact service. Really not the ALS side, but the BLS side back in Westchester Borough. We've trimmed a couple off-hour EMTs just to save a little money here and there. And we're doing a tremendous amount of advocacy around state legislation, try to increase reimbursements, make sure insurance companies are paying. That is an uphill battle. So I just want to show this study I did earlier this year with several of my colleagues across the county. And really, it's just, we wanted a way to kind of put eyes on where we were as a county with EMS funding, and Goshen participated in this as well. Hit the next slide there. We only included the municipalities that were able to specifically identify funding for ALS or ALS and BLS. So it is hard to see, I apologize. The highlighted townships in 2025 provide or receive ALS from Good Fellowship. You can see relatively low costs for Good Fellowship's municipalities in 2025 compared to other like municipalities. These are sorted by cost per dispatch here. So the average is $190 per dispatch. Today, East Goshen is at $74 per dispatch. And the next slide, what I did was just change the Good Fellowship municipalities to our 2026 amounts. That takes East Goshen to $140 per dispatch, which is still well below the countywide average for ALS funding. So this is what this picture will hopefully look like next year. Obviously, those other 15, 20 municipalities will probably also go up as well. But I kind of just want to give a picture and a comparison where we are countywide. Ton of work, but I think it's really helpful for us. Hopefully it's helpful for you as well.
Could you send other copies of that? Sometimes I can't even read it on.
Absolutely. You have the.
I can send the
Excel.
presentation
Okay.
too.
It's actually an Excel sheet that you
Oh,
can manipulate and sort.
Yeah, that would be better,
Yep.
because I can't.
Yep.
With glasses, I couldn't read it.
So that is the end. Happy to answer any questions. So really it's the budget increase, but also looking for the service agreement with East Goshen Township, which is a 3-year agreement that will automatically renew on 1-year terms after 2020.
Yeah, Mark, did I send you that already? If not, I thought I did, but I'll send it to you. I got a draft from Chad, so.
Yeah, we've had this contract in place for 3 years with 6 other municipalities. We've made some tweaks to it, really around some percentages. But it was actually originally written by a municipal solicitor for one of us. So very nice. So.
If it's a contract that has dollars in it,
So we identify a 2026 amount in the contract, that is preset, which you're seeing on the screen. Subsequent years, we do an assessment of your call volume as well as our deficit and adjust based off of that.
so it's not set.
It's not set every year. No, there's a not to exceed 10%.
Okay.
And we did that really to be fair to all the townships. If your call volume goes down, theoretically, that would shift more of the cost to another township.
Okay.
So that's why we did it that way.
I didn't ask Goshen this, but how do you guys handle the subscription program?
So for ALS, we don't do any subscriptions
Yeah.
for ALS services. We only solicit in our BLS area, which is west of 202. Goshen so does subscriptions on this side, so.
Is there any better way to get that out?
Respect.
To get people to subscribe?
So.
Grant, can you come up to the, just, I'm sorry.
I know it's a stretch, but
So we mail 18,000 letters
yes,
twice.
yes.
Initial letter, then a reminder. I am pulling numbers off the top of my head. It's something like a 16% response rate. Hershey's Mills, very close to 80-90% response. We hand deliver subscriptions to Wellington, Bellingham, because they have turnover.
Mhm.
So their office has a stack. But I think Bellingham's really bad this year, but Wellington's okay. We do social media, we put it on our signs, we do a lot. I think the township newsletters, we try to put things in it. We hit it pretty hard. And our numbers are actually kind of creeping down the last couple of years for some reason. Like our number of respondents is down, and obviously we'll down to that.
No, I'm just curious. It would go a long way to help fill in some of this. Like, we subscribe, and I asked my wife the other day, she's like, I forgot. So
You got 2 letters?
you're getting a check. Oh, yeah, and she still forgot. That's why I'm asking, like, even people that want to do it, and still didn't do it. So I was just,
16% is actually a great return rate. They probably have one of the best in Chester County, so they do a wonderful job with it. Our return rate is around 45%.
no, that's good to know, like, where you stand.
Wow, do you send out 2 letters as well?
We send out a mailer, which will go out in about 4 weeks here. We have 30,000 addresses now, and then in February, we'll send a reminder to anyone that did not subscribe. That's typically 28,000. So it's very
Oh
small.
my, so you guys have a really good return rate.
They have a great return
That's
rate.
amazing,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Before you step away, I just wanted to let everybody know who's here, and it's nice to see people here. I recently did a ride along with Goshen Fire Department ambulance, and I have to tell you, the professionalism is amazing. And they worked really well with ALS from the fellowship, which was really great to see. So yeah, it was really great to see. It was nice to see the professionalism of the paramedics. And it was really great to see how there was a response time of less than 3 minutes with one of our calls. And just about that for another one. So it's pretty amazing. And the response time is really very, very, very fast. And Goshen, that was with Goshen, but with GPAC, they were right behind within moments, which was really great. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity, but to see you all in action is really amazing. And if you don't have a subscription, make sure you get your subscriptions in.
Hey, Chaz, I'm glad you brought up the part about losing the donor.
Yeah.
I think that was an important point. And are you able to quantify how much of this new 2026 impact is from that? Or
So
roughly?
Our last donation for them was $350,000. So
Yeah.
that essentially gets added to our deficit.
Yeah.
So it's huge. So unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that the slide that you shared with the Excel sheet was very helpful. I appreciate it.
I'll mention we have our municipal advisory board now, which Michelle and Derek participate into, and that's 4 meetings a year where we bring all our townships in to really advise and recommend our board of directors on this stuff. So their next meeting's next week, and they're gonna start digging into our 25 budget line by line, asking questions. You know, we're already a really transparent organization, but that was just another layer there to get them in and actually make direct recommendations to our board. So
And to be clear, there's also afterward, after the meeting with the fellowship is the coalition, and that's a number of townships, besides Good Fellowship, Goshen Fire Department is gonna be there as well. And that's a really important thing too, bringing all of the players to the table really helps township supervisors and managers have a better understanding of how everybody interacts together and what it means for their township. So it's a really important meeting that we're gonna have after that. So thank you.
How,
Thank you, Joe.
how difficult is there an average retention for like a BLS person on staffing? Like, because it seems like there's so many different companies.
Yeah.
And they could just go from one to another to another to another, and it's like a bidding war almost,
So
staffing wise.
as an organization, we've transitioned. I've been here for 21 years, and 21 years ago, we had 2 full-time people. The rest were all part-time college kids here for 2 years. We've completely shifted to folks that have been here for 8, 10, 15 years now, which is good. You're getting very experienced professionals. There's a cost to that though.
Yeah.
Especially on the paramedic side, to become a paramedic is a lot of work. Most of those folks stay in that now. And it's important to retain them as well in their experience. So it's definitely been a big shift into more of a professional, full-time, long-term career than where we were 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that in all the public safety. Yep, thanks.
Actually, Grant, could you come up? Because I wanted to ask, so, sorry. I wanted to ask about your turnover with BLS providers. I know that the firefighters and the BLS providers are actually cross-trained. What is your experience with the turnover?
So our full-time firefighter EMTs don't leave.
Okay.
We've got one that's, he's gonna retire soon, he's been in 25 years.
Yeah.
Got a couple in the like 18 to 20-year range. And then on the lower end, we had a bunch we hired in 2017, I think we had one person leave. Recently, just to kind of a lateral transition into another fire department.
And one of the reasons I wanted to ask was because I was curious if that's one of the problems with Goshen Fire Department is your expenses are going up because salaries have to increase to commensurate with the experience as well.
Yeah,
So
it's
is
the
your
same
experience
thing.
the
If you
same
wanna
thing?
keep good people,
Yeah.
quality
You
people.
have to pay them.
And it's the part-time guys, we just have tremendous turnover. Yeah, it's, we've got a few folks who've been there 2 or 3 years, but usually a year out of the part-timers.
Okay, my last question for you is, when is your fire safety demonstration for the community?
Friday night.
I want to make sure that's what I was making
Week
sure.
out of the house.
And what time is that? 6 o'clock?
60.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Chaz, I don't have any other questions for you. Does anybody else?
No, I don't have any more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
That's great. Thanks, Ted.
Thanks,
Oh,
Todd.
we have public comment. Hold on. You can't go yet.
Come on up.
My name is Ann Duffield. I live in Hershey's Mill, and I would personally like to thank you all. I had to do something that was heartbreaking to me. And that was in February of 2024, I had to call emergency service because my husband was having a stroke. And you were there within minutes, practically. Unfortunately, he didn't survive, but you did everything you possibly could. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are worth every penny. And given the fact that this township has an average age of 52, about 52, we need you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment or anyone else have anything else for them? For tonight? Does that? They can go? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the presentation. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, the next topic I have labeled as budget Q&A. Dave and I will have more materials next meeting on different variations of when we start the budget process to now. But for this, it was just an open-ended conversation on what anybody wanted to talk about. I do see people from the Malvern Library here. So I don't know if they were here to talk budget. I assume so. But this was just a general agenda item. I thought if anybody had anything else budget related to talk about.
Yeah, any budget questions at all for the township? Did you? Come on, if you have questions for the township, come on, please. While we're here.
I'm Justine Fafara, the library director at the Malvern Library. And my name is Shannon Duran. I'm an East Goshen resident and board of trustees of the Malvern Public Library. So I have to apologize. We missed your last meeting when you talked about our budget request. But Derek did let us know that you had discussed a number of $37,500 for funding next year. So I guess I have two questions. One is, how did we get to that number? And then the other is, some of our other townships that we serve, because our ask was so big, agreed to do an increase of $5,000 each year for a couple of years to get us up to the number we asked for. And I'm wondering if that's something you all would consider. I also realize that I'm asking for money for the library after those really important emergency services asks.
Now, keep in mind that we got a call today from Malvern Fire for $150,000. So that's something that, the 37 even has to be reviewed.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
honestly and truly, it's not sustainable to continue to have these huge asks from not just the library. And the library's not that huge of an ask, but the fact is the library is asking for money, but emergency services we're not required to fund libraries as township supervisors. We are required to provide public safety. And so that's something that we really have to seriously consider.
Yeah.
The arts are important, libraries are important, so that's something that we have to also consider. So we're all going to have to weigh in on where we stand on these things. That's my position for right now. So, what was the ask?
It was in the
Did we
low.
say 50?
I think it was 51. I think 51. But just to answer your question further, Justine, how it came up, it was just an organic conversation that popped up during the budget discussion in September. So if you go back and watch the video feed, you could probably catch it. But really, there was it happened naturally, and everybody was kind of talking about, okay, well, what would you be comfortable with? And some people in their own minds based it on percentages from the increase of last year. So it was just a natural conversation that happened spontaneously.
Okay. We like it when the library comes up spontaneously.
Dave,
Yes.
I don't remember, what did we give to the library last year, or for this year?
This year we did, it was 37.5.
It was the 37.
37,500.
No. What did we give them for the current year? He's asking.
Oh, this year,
Yeah.
34, I think it's 31.
31.
Yeah.
I think 31.
Okay, so we went from 31 to 37.5, that's 6,000.
Yeah, I think Barbara
On fifth,
proposed,
that's
I think
like-
Barbara proposed the full ask.
No,
That's
but
like a 20% increase.
I
isn't it?
think Barbara proposed 40 And
Okay,
then
right.
people were talking about splitting the because then somebody said 35, somebody said 40, and then they split.
It was
they
kind
did
of
split it.
compromised.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's get away from history. That's a 20% increase.
Yep.
Okay, but just to be clear. And you want that plus 5,000 in the next few years. That's something to consider.
Cody has a question or raising his hand for a
Yes.
comment. Go ahead, Cody.
Thank you. And sorry, I'm not there tonight. I'm on my way to DC for work. But as it pertains to the library, I know I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but my wife is a massive reader, so I know she's my most important voter because I have to hear from her the most. So if she's not getting if she can't get her book at the library that she wants, then it's an issue. But as it pertains to future funding, I'd be open to the discussion, but going from what we originally funded up to 50 all at once, it's just a little bit too much. And I think that goes for all the asks that we've received. I'm just not comfortable there yet, even with our first responders at this point fully funding to the amount that they requested. But I think it's worth the discussion. I appreciate you coming in.
Have you given us any kind of justification for that? Did you provide anything to the township?
I know that Shannon provided some numbers, comparing the population of East Goshen to our other townships, the number of library card holders to our other townships, and the amount of money we get from everyone. We can resend that to you guys if that's helpful. I'm sure
Okay,
Shannon has it somewhere.
but that was that was that was the justification for
Yes.
the increase to 51,000.
Yeah.
And you're asking for an additional $5,000 every year for the next number of years as well.
So just to be clear, Malvern services for municipalities, East Goshen, the borough of Malvern, Town, and East Wake.
Right.
East Goshen has the second largest population of patrons to the Mountain Public Library.
Can you go a little bit closer to the mic, please? Sorry, I'm having difficulty hearing if possible.
So East Goshen services the second largest population of people at our library. East Goshen provides the least amount of funding compared to the other municipalities. So our ask was just to figure out a way for East Goshen to increase at a rate that's fairly comparable to the other three municipalities. And whether that's now or, as we've spoken about, what Cody was suggesting, over a period of time.
I just wanted to be clear as to what the ask was, because like John pointed out, it's about 20% increase. It's pretty considerable. And when we're getting a 39% increase request from fire and EMS, and that's just one of the departments, we've got a 50%. What's the increase for Good Fellowship for this year over next year?
63%.
63%. Malvern now is asking for 1,000% increase. So, yeah, we're talking big money.
Pardon me, without numbers in front of me, I actually think the increase that we had spoken of over email was maybe $3,000. So I don't want to overstate the 20% because I don't know that that's completely accurate. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know that it's that large.
Okay, still, it's just putting it all in perspective, just so you understand where I'm personally am coming from. You know, while it's important to fund you all, it's also important to first provide first responders. So we haven't even talked about the police department, right? And so that's a whole other thing. And so please understand that it's not for lack of caring, it's just a fact of there's only so much money that's coming in revenue. And there's only so much money that we can pull from thin air.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. So just an example, our ask for East Whiteland was to get them up to $65,000. And so they agreed to get us $5,000 a year until they reached 65. So I think that's happening over 4 years. So another option to consider there. But we appreciate all the money you do give us for the library. Yeah, this was a great meeting for us to be. But thank you.
You guys look like hikers compared to the fire.
So I did find the email. So East Whiteland, as at the time it said was gonna commit 57,000 for next year, Willistown 53 and Malvern 57. And we're requesting 55,000 from East Goshen.
There you go.
So,
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for coming.
so Dave,
Yes.
so far this year, we've been working on the budget way ahead of time than previous years. And you guys had worked on pretty much figured a budget out based on incremental decreases from everyone asking. What was the incremental increase that you figured into the budget that you, at the moment, somewhat balanced, giving out to each fire, EMS, library and everybody?
The additional amount without a police increase that I would need to add in if we gave,
Well, originally you figured on like a 10% or whatever,
51
4%.
51 to Goshen Fire, and I had everybody else's, I had Good Fellowship in there. It's really, if we gave Malvern and Goshen what they wanted, it'd be another 280,000 that I didn't account for, and that doesn't include the police, which is still in negotiations.
But previous to that, you had a fairly balanced budget.
I have a net zero budget. Yeah, it's balanced.
You had a
right
zero
now.
budget. What was the increase with the zero budget to everyone?
They were different percentages, but I had
Roughly.
fully loaded. I had 100% of what they asked for Good Fellowship was. I had the 10% increase to Goshen Fire.
Mhm.
And then the increase from
I had-
Malvern was 37.5, whatever that percentage was.
Yes, I had the increase that we already had talked about for Malvern
75.
Library. 20%.
75 from 31 is 20%.
Yeah.
Roughly 19.
Yeah, and I had that in there. And then I had Malvern Fire Company flat with what we gave last year.
Yeah, because they had yet to contact us.
So Dave, can you tell us what the budget was last year for the total budget? And then what the budget for this year so far is without all these other big asks? So what is our overall budget? It was 11.2 in 24, I think. What was it in 25 for 25?
The total number without public safety?
No, with
Everything.
everything.
Oh, no,
Because
it was over
it's-
12 million.
12 million that is
Yeah,
for this year,
No, last year,
for
24.
24.
24
So,
was,
okay,
no,
so
25 was.
25.
25.
Yeah.
25 is 12 what?
It's 13.1 right now.
Yeah, the 26, the projected budget is 13,100,000.
yeah.
So what what increases that over last year overall? I don't have the
It's-
paperwork in front of me.
It's like a 2%,
2%, okay.
It's,
something like that.
what was the last year was 12 million, how many 100,000?
It was high.
Say 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's seven.
I
It
know.
was like 12.7.
So it's 400,000 to 13,100,000, right? 400,000.
See, now I don't have my laptop.
Right now,
I have
though.
one day on
That's-
it.
Well,
Oh,
I'm gonna say math.
yeah, you're right, it's about 2.5 to 3%.
I think it's about 2.5.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound so much, but when you're talking about $13 million, that's a lot.
Well, but that's also without any police
Without any
change from the
police
version
change.
that we've got.
Right,
So
and we know
we're-
we know that's gonna change.
Right.
We're still working on that.
Yes.
What's
Yes.
what's the number you have for
Cody has a question. Hold on. Go ahead, Cody.
sorry, Dave, what's the number you have in the budget right now for EMS, Goshen and all that included? What percentage of their ask do you have in there? All 100% or is it 50%? Is it?
I have 100%, well, I've got 100% of Good Fellowship. I've
Which-
got 10% versus the 40% of Goshen Fire, and I've got 0% of the Malvern Fire Company's asking.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
100%, sorry, Cody. 100% is what number though?
They're 80,
they're 83,000.
83,000 is 100%, and Goshen's a 10%, what's that number?
51,000
So
increase.
the percentages kind of make it sound way off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just.
You're at
So
81,000,
I could-
51,000.
So we're giving them 560,000 as opposed to 710,000,
Yeah.
which is what they're asking for.
And that's why sometimes speaking about it in percentages it doesn't give the full picture.
No.
Because they're such a small part of the township compared to Goshen
Yeah.
Fire, so.
Yeah, and when you talk about the police, that's, we're talking
Man, my head hurts.
$3 million, $4 million.
anybody else have a question?
Oh,
Okay, I move we adjourn.
second.
Hold on, are you done, Cody?
Oh,
Sorry.
We did public comment.
Cody, do you have any more questions?
I'm good. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's presented.
All right, any public comment or questions on all the stuff we're discussing and trying to clarify?
We'll have some more budget numbers next meeting on October 21st.
If you have more information you want to bring back to us, feel free. All right. Okay,
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coming out.
Thank you.